I'm a teenage giant. And I don't like to boast, but breakfast for me is 10 tins of baked beans on 10 slices of toast. Brown bread, it must be. I'm a teenage giant, and my shoes are size 15. Maybe it's all that protein rushing to my feet. Every morning I jog across mountain and bog, and there I met my girlfriend, Morrigan Magog. Her thighs were mighty as an oaken beam, and she was wiser than the salmon in the stream. It's all the fish, she claimed, did wonders for her brain, and her friends called her the queen of protein.
Everybody needs a balanced diet. There are certain types of food you must eat to stay healthy. To get them all, your shopping list needs variety. Protein is an essential part of a healthy diet. Proteins are natural building blocks. You need them to help your body grow and to replace worn-out tissue. There's protein in most foods, but things like eggs and milk are the best. Meat is a really good source of protein, but if you don't want to eat meat, there's no problem. You can get your protein from fish instead. Cheese is good, and there's plenty of protein in vegetarian foods like beans and nuts. This baby hasn't been getting enough protein, so he's suffering from a disease called kwashiorkor. He's listless and miserable, and he's not as big as he should be. Despite not getting enough food, his belly is badly swollen. There are signs everywhere that his body isn't growing and that damage isn't being repaired. But he'll be fine when his doctor puts him on a high-protein diet. To stay healthy, you need a certain amount of protein every day. This much milk and fish is about right. Or you could eat this amount of nuts and chicken. Carbohydrates are next on the list. Things like pasta, potatoes and bread contain a carbohydrate called starch. When you eat them, the starch is broken down into different carbohydrates called sugars. Fruit contains a sugar called fructose, but there are different kinds of sugar in different foods. The kind of sugar you put in your tea is called sucrose. Like all sugars, it's a high-energy food. You can release the energy from sucrose by burning it. This other powder contains oxygen. It allows the sugar to burn more efficiently than it would in air. Sugars are fuels. They give you energy. So does starch, because your body turns it into a sugar called glucose. Just milk in mind from now on, thanks. A healthy diet requires a certain amount of fat, which is a store of energy and provides insulation to keep you warm. And no one can live for long without water. As well as all that lot, you must have vitamins in your diet. If you don't, then you run the risk of some pretty nasty diseases.
Oh, Captain Cook.
Captain James Cook was one of Britain's greatest ever explorers. In the 18th century, He circumnavigated the globe and made many important discoveries. He was the first European to set foot in Australia. In the Pacific Islands, he learned how to surf and took note of the ancient art of tattooing. On long journeys, Navy ships had to carry most of their own food, and the sailors lived mainly on biscuits. These were pretty boring to eat every day, and it definitely wasn't a balanced diet. A lot of the sailors got a hideous disease called scurvy. Scurvy makes your body cells come apart. First it attacks your gums, then it spreads all over. The sailors used to call each other scurvy dogs.
Scurvy dog!
Something had to be done. Cook read that scurvy might be avoided by eating limes. That's what they called lemons in those days. Everyone was put on a much more varied diet, including lots of limes. Cook had to be tough with the crew about eating properly.
Eat your limes or you'll have a taste of the cat.
But it was for their own good. No one got scurvy anymore, and the sailors had a new nickname, Limeys. We now know that citrus fruits like oranges and lemons contain vitamin C. A varied diet is the best way to get all the vitamins you need. Eating fresh fruit and vegetables is a good idea, and fish are also a good source of some of the important vitamins. Different vitamins do different jobs and prevent different illnesses. Milk has several vitamins and also contains a mineral called calcium. Like vitamins, minerals are chemical substances which have specific jobs to do. Calcium keeps your teeth and bones healthy. Spinach contains a different mineral. Iron is good for the blood. Vitamins and minerals are vital parts of a healthy diet. Most things contain more than one of the essential food groups. But when you eat them, how does your body sort out all the nutrients and get them to where they're needed? Most food has to be broken into full nutrients. To get the most out of an egg sandwich, your body has to digest it. Digestion depends on chemical substances called enzymes. Saliva contains an enzyme called amylase, which helps to turn starch into a sugar. So bread tastes sweet if you chew for long enough. Amylase is also used in the manufacture of denim jeans. Denim is woven from cotton threads, but the threads have been soaked in starch first to make them stiff enough for weaving. Denim has to be softened again before it can be made into jeans, so the starch has to be removed. That's where the amylase comes in. It's important to wear protective clothing when using enzymes. They irritate the eyes and skin, and you shouldn't breathe them in.
Stop. Nearly.
First, they use water to make up a solution of amylase. It's a bit like having a whole beaker of saliva. They're trying to find the best temperature for using amylase. Which temperature will work best? All these pieces come from the same roll of denim, the saving one as a control. Each piece goes into a beaker of solution at a different temperature. Here's how the amylase solution works. It's a chemical reaction. The sugar, glucose, is a hexagon-shaped molecule, and starch is a long chain of glucose molecules joined together. These chains have to be broken down. It's actually water molecules that break down the chains, but water on its own is too slow. You need amylase molecules as well. They're just the right shape for a starch molecule to fit in, like a key into a lock. This holds the starch in the right position for a water molecule to break it easily. The amylase molecules then move on to help break up more starch. Any old enzyme won't do. To break down starch, it has to be amylase. Other enzymes would be the wrong shape. Amylase eventually breaks down the chains into pairs of hexagons. These are another sugar called maltose. It's maltose that makes the sweet taste if you chew bread for long enough. After 15 minutes, they take out the pieces of denim, wash them in detergent and hang them out to dry. Now they have to test which piece has had the most starch removed. Iodine is orange, but goes blue when it comes into contact with starch. The control piece of denim wasn't treated with amylase, so there's still plenty of starch in it. On the 60 degrees Celsius piece, the iodine looks orange, so most of the starch was removed at this temperature. At higher temperatures, the molecules collide more often, so more starch gets broken down. But you can't make the amylase too hot. It loses its shape and the key won't fit into the lock anymore. 60 degrees Celsius worked best. But do you think they found the best possible temperature for using amylase on denim? So much for starch, but the sandwich contains protein as well, in both the egg and the bread. Protein is digested in the stomach with the help of another enzyme called pepsin. The stomach also contains hydrochloric acid, so pepsin has to work conditions. But it isn't just a chemical process, your stomach has to do something else as well. Prepare 2 high-protein meals with plenty of fish. Take 2 identical mixers and put some water into each. Add hydrochloric acid to the right concentration and check that the pH is about 1.1. Then add the enzyme, pepsin. Apply heat with gas burners. But only switch on one of the mixers. Keep both mixers at a constant temperature of 37 degrees Celsius. Leave to digest for several hours. Observe the differences. If the mixer isn't switched on, the high-protein fish is hardly digested at all. Protein is digested much more quickly if the food gets churned up. Muscles cause the stomach to churn up your food. By bringing all the molecules together, this helps the enzyme reaction that breaks down protein. Like starch, proteins are long chains. These chains are made up of smaller molecules called amino acids. Pepsin helps break down protein into shorter chains. Every now and then, a muscle opens a gap, and some food is washed from the stomach into the small intestine. The small intestine contains more digestive enzymes, which complete the breakdown of proteins and starch. The walls of the small intestine are made up of tiny structures called villi. Villi have a large surface area and very thin walls, and they're filled with blood capillaries. An enzyme breaks down the shortened protein chains into amino acids. These are absorbed by the villi and go into the bloodstream. Blood carries the amino acids all over the body, where the cells use them to make new proteins. There's more amylase for breaking down starch into maltose. Yet another enzyme breaks down maltose into hexagon-shaped glucose. Glucose goes into the blood and provides the body with energy. Your digestive system breaks down food to provide you with all the nutrients your body needs. Make up your own diet. Choose things you really like to eat, but make sure you get all the essential food groups. And remember, healthy eating means variety.
Oh, that giant of a girl, Morrigan Magog, she taught me that variety is the key to diet and romance. And she made me pledge to fruit and veg. The secret is to be well balanced. So now we dance, me and Morrigan Magog, across mountain and bog, to the tune of 10 spoons, peanut butter, and 10 fillets of cod.